Hey, Jason here from Simply Swider. Is your Amana dryer completely dead? Won't start at all? Don't panic. I'm going to walk you through 5 simple fixes that solve this problem 90% of the time. Most of these take under 10 minutes and cost less than $20, saving you that expensive service call. Before we get started, if you run into any questions, jump into our Facebook group, links in the description. We've got thousands of people helping each other fix their appliances, and I pop in there daily to help out. All right, so when your dryer completely refuses to start, there's usually one of 5 things going on. I'm going to walk you through these from the simplest fixes to the more involved ones. And trust me, we'll get your dryer running again. Most of these problems are way more common than you'd think, and I see them all the time on service calls. So the most common thing I run into, the dryer's not getting power or there's some kind of user setting that's preventing it from starting. You'll know this is your problem when there's absolutely no lights on the display, no sounds, nothing. It's like the thing's completely dead. Here's what we're going to check. Make sure that plug hasn't wiggled loose. I can't tell you how many times I've driven across town just to push a plug back in. Then head to your breaker box and check if the circuit breaker tripped. Electric dryers need both legs of that 240-volt breaker, so if just one side trips, you might get lights but no heat or starting action. Also, check if there's a control lock or child lock engaged. Usually you hold the cycle signal button for about 3 seconds to turn that off. And here's something people forget. You gotta press and hold that start button for a few seconds, not just tap it. The thermal fuse is probably the number one reason I get called out for dryers that won't start. This little safety device cuts off all power when the dryer overheats, which happens way more often than it should. You'll know it's blown when the dryer won't start at all. Completely silent, no lights, nothing. Sometimes it'll let the drum turn but won't heat up. Here's how to test it. You'll need a multimeter, which costs about $15 at any hardware store. First, unplug your dryer and wait 5 minutes. Remove the back panel with a quarter-inch nut driver. Look for a small white or clear oval component near the blower housing. It'll have 2 wire terminals. Carefully pull off both wires, then touch your multimeter probes to each terminal. If you don't get a beep or see 0 ohms resistance, that fuse is blown. Now here's the thing, don't just replace the fuse and call it good. You gotta clean out your entire vent system first or that new fuse is gonna blow immediately. I learned that one the hard way on more service calls than I care to admit. The door switch tells the dryer it's safe to start, and when it fails, your dryer thinks the door is still open. Here are 2 instant ways to spot a bad door switch. First, when you close the door, you should hear a solid click sound. No click usually means a broken switch. Second, if your dryer has an interior drum light that stays on even with the door firmly closed, that switch has definitely failed. To test this, you'll need to pop the top of the dryer and disconnect the wire harness from the switch. Use your multimeter to check for continuity while you press the switch. No continuity means it needs replacing. I had this customer last month who swore her door was closing properly, but that little plastic peg that activates the switch had broken off completely. When the start switch goes bad, pressing that button does absolutely nothing. No response, no noise, nothing. Now, if you hear humming when you press start, the switch is probably fine and you've got a different problem. To check this one, you'll need to remove the rear control console cover and pull the wires off the start switch. Test for continuity while pressing the button down. If there's no reading, time for a new switch. Here's something interesting. If you have to hold the button down the entire time for the dryer to keep running, that's usually not the start switch at all. That's more likely a motor centrifugal switch or wiring issue. The drive belt connects your motor to the drum, and when it snaps, things get interesting. Here's how you'll know. Reach into the dryer and try to turn the drum by hand. If it spins way too easily, like there's no resistance at all, that belt is broken. Some newer models have a belt switch that won't even let the dryer start if the belt's broken. Pretty smart, actually. Now, replacing this belt is no joke. You're looking at major disassembly. You'll need to lift the top, remove the front panel, and pull out the entire drum to get to the motor shaft and idler pulley. This is definitely a more advanced repair, but it's still doable if you're handy with tools. The thermal fuse is your cheapest and easiest fix. Most cost between $10 and $20, though some specialty models run up to $90. This is a perfect beginner repair that takes about 15 minutes. You can find these at any appliance parts store or order them online from Parts DR, Repair Clinic, or even Amazon. Just match your model number exactly. Just remember what I said about cleaning that vent system, or you'll be right back where you started. Door switches typically run $15 to $40 and they're not too tough to replace. You can find them at most appliance parts dealers or online. The tricky part is getting to them. You'll need to pop that top panel and sometimes remove the front panel depending on your model. It's a moderate DIY repair, but definitely doable if you take your time and maybe watch a few videos first. Start switches are a bit pricier, usually 30 to 100 bucks depending on your model. These are located in the control console, so you'll be working with the control panel. Not too difficult if you're careful with the wire connections. Make sure you label everything before you disconnect it or take pictures with your phone. Drive belts are actually pretty reasonable, usually $15 to $30 for a complete kit with the belt and sometimes new pulleys. The part's cheap, but the labor is intense. This is where you really need to decide if it's worth your time and effort. If you're handy and have a free weekend, go for it. If not, this might be where you call someone like me. The drive motor is the expensive one. You're looking at potentially over $100 for the part, plus it's a pretty complex install. This is usually the culprit when you hear humming but no movement, or when the dryer shuts off mid-cycle from overheating. Before you replace the motor, definitely verify that thermal fuse and drive belt are good because a bad motor diagnosis can be expensive if you're wrong. Now, let's talk about what you're looking at cost-wise if you need to replace any of these parts. The good news is most of these repairs are way cheaper than calling someone like me, and they're definitely worth doing yourself if you're comfortable with basic tools. Now, you can see right there on your screen the most common models that run into these starting problems. Take a look. You might spot your own model up there. Don't worry about memorizing all those numbers, but it's good to know if your particular unit is prone to these issues. Some of those models have specific quirks, like control board problems from overheating or door switch issues that are more common than they should be. There you have it, 5 proven fixes for an Amana dryer that won't start. Work through them in this exact order: power issues, thermal fuse, door switch, start switch, then drive belt. 8 out of 10 times, it's either a blown thermal fuse or simple power problem. Here's your action plan. Spend 15 minutes on these checks before calling for service. Clean your dryer vents every 6 months. This single step prevents 70% of these failures. Don't let a $10 part force you into buying a new dryer. If you guys know someone who's having appliance troubles, please send them the link to this video or a link to my channel where I have tons of other videos showing how to fix pretty common issues with appliances, sometimes for free or as little cost as possible. It sure beats having a repairman come out and spending several hundred for them to fix it when it could be something so simple. If this helped you get your dryer working again, hit that like button and drop a comment below. Let me know which fix worked for you. Really helps other people with the same problem. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. We'll get this out to more folks who need to save some time and money. Thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day.